Is Eververse greedy? So here we are again, another question and another conversation. Is Eververse greedy? I'm not talking about the greed of the world or the greed of the individuals. So what am I talking about? I'm really asking this. Is greed good for Eververse and Destiny? So what exactly do I mean? Am I discussing the current loot system? Am I discussing the state of the portal? Am I discussing the cost of the game? No. What I'm asking is this. Is greed good with Eververse? So let's talk about it. I'm going to give you several examples of why I feel that Eververse is a negative part of the Destiny universe. A system designed to manipulate us and get as much money out of us as possible. A system designed to extract as much blood from the stone as they possibly can. As I stated in my previous videos, I've been playing Destiny for a long time. I've owned all the DLCs, all the seasons, and all the dungeon keys. But one thing I have not done, the one thing I have not owned, is silver. I do not spend my money at Eververse. Why not? Well, that's what I'm going to discuss with you today. The look of failure. One of the things that drew me into this big, beautiful universe was the look, the aesthetic of Destiny. The first time I saw the armor, the first time I saw the trailer, the first time I saw the space magic, I was hooked. It looked real. Not real in the sense of this is going to happen, but real in the sense of something that was believable and not cartoonish. It was dingy, dark world that felt terrifying, yet also intriguing. The Titan armor, the Warlock robes, the Hunter capes. This badass look just emanated awesomeness, and I wanted to be a part of it. I remember playing and seeing the Vex armor from Vault of Glass, the Hive armor from Crota's End, and the Dead Orbit armor and shader that I just loved to rock. That was, of course, until Super Black came out. This part of Destiny was so refreshing, so clean, and so new. I was enthralled, enjoying this new drink like something cool and refreshing after being lost in the sun all day. I just couldn't get enough. When we received light accents, it pushed our characters even further toward this look. Our Guardians looked like they stepped out of some epic sci-fi film, and we were all here for it. Yet, like most things, time brings change, and usually not for the better. As we progressed forward in the Destiny timeline, a little shop appeared in the tower. A little shop selling horns for sparrows and the occasional emo. Some of us scoffed at what we saw coming. Others retorted with a typical and always excellent comeback. If you don't like it, don't buy it. We of course were put in our place, unable to respond to such logic. Yet we knew what was coming, and when Destiny 2 arrived, so did the change we feared. Over the last several years, Eververse and its inventory have grown massively. You can scroll through pages of ships, sparrows, skimmers, and armor. There are tons of different ways to make our Guardians more unique, to make them more badass. Or maybe not. You see, as we progressed forward, like a meteor streaking towards its destination, we didn't realize that this store, this cosmetic vendor, would bring so much change to the Destiny universe. As I said above, realism was one of the reasons I found myself in the world. Destiny took itself seriously. It had the desire to maintain its look, its vibe, its aura. Yet as I stated, times change all. And most times, it's never for the good. As the days slipped by like grains of sand in an hourglass, the look and feel of Destiny began to change. The slow creep and crawl of the possibilities of money to be made, of emotes to sell, of ways to part us with our hard-earned cash, became more and more prevalent. Yet the look of the game became less so. We went from a game that took itself seriously to seeing Guardians flying by on a sleigh with presents, leaving a trail of glimmer. Now, I'm all for the holiday spirit, but this was an ominous sign of what was to come. As the months went on and the days faded, the jarring elements became more and more commonplace. Wooden ships, biplanes, ships shaped like cars, armor sets from Ghostbusters, Star Wars, and The Witcher. But, okay, The Witcher 1 is badass, so is Kratos, and so is the Mass Effect. But it's an example of a world straying from its place in its own universe to greedily devour any others it could to keep its financial hooks in us for as long as possible. Each purchase, a cost that should elicit nothing but laughter, yet instead, nothing but the sounds of cash registers and money changing hands was heard. So, as our world lost its realism, as our world blurred from one thing to another, it became very clear to me, the seriousness of Destiny was gone, replaced by an FPS Fortnite Call of Duty clone. As I browse through Eververse while taking notes, I find a Stormtrooper, a Plaguebreaker, and of course, Doki Doki, and why not, a helmet with Blanca from Street Fighter. Yet if I go further, I find a Beach Ball Ghost Shell, the Death Star, and the cost? Well, we're not getting into that yet, but trust me, I have a few thoughts on that as well. We went from a world that was established as its own to one that seems to greedily rely on crossovers from worlds that shouldn't touch this one. As cool as it will be the first time someone lights up a lightsaber when Renegades arrives, I can't help but feel like a little bit more of what made this game great dies with that sound. I can't help but feel that even though we pay for so much, for season passes to dungeon keys, from DLCs to full releases, these items, these silly objects that serve no true purpose other than a look, should be more a part of what we pay for. Items not made for you. For anyone not currently aware, Destiny is once again in the crosshairs of controversy. It's just another week at Bungie where their mistakes lead to a plethora of articles and videos splayed out across our screens, social feeds, and minds. Their mistakes are so evident and so audacious that you can do nothing more than shake your head. So what am I talking about? The current information presented in an article by Paul Tassi on the upcoming Iron Banner armor. This cool, badass armor touted by Bungie was supposed to be something that we were going to get. They even went so far as to show off the original concept armor with a very clear Iron Banner tree on the belly. So what happened to this armor? Well, it's now been removed and placed into the Eververse store. There's even an article from Abdullah Jawad circulating stating that internally, Bungie was aware this new armor was awesome, or too attractive. And guess what this might do? Well, Guardians, it might just hurt those Eververse sales. It seems that anytime new content drops, anytime some new activity appears on a horizon, the majority of the attractive armor and weapon ornaments, ghost shells, sparrows, or ships will all be in the Eververse store. Why? Because Bungie needs more of your money, and you should, of course, want to give it to them. Look, you can pay all this money for this new ship, skimmer, and shader. Aren't you just ecstatic, Guardian? Every time new content comes out, every time we dip our toes into new worlds, new stories, new strikes, new content where we should be chasing those ornaments, we instead get generic, sometimes barely reskinned armor. Look, Guardians, there's some plants on the same helmet you had before. But hey, Guardians, look at this badass new Titan set on Eververse. You need this more. Bungie is giving us the base armors, the basic reskins, the same things we've been getting for years with minor updates for what we pay. I know some of you are probably stating, well, if you want new things, you will have to pay for them. Micro's a part of gaming now. This is what we have to accept. But is it? Do we have to keep going to the well when the water is stagnant? Do we have to keep drinking from the well when we have paid hundreds for clean water? What makes it worse is the whole time, Bungie stands to the side with a golden chalice of royal slop, shaking it back and forth like callous as they laugh, knowing you would much rather prefer to drink from the cup than wear the overused and barely changed armor from the well. Now, I'm not saying we don't get new armor sets. Yes, in major DLCs we have gotten new ones. Yes, we do get new sets in season passes. But be honest with yourself. Are these the best armor pieces? The best sparrows and emotes? The best cosmetic? These things, the things we pay for, are they the best looking? Does anyone remember Spire of Stars, the exotic emote? This is the model we should have had. Emotes from Dungeons and Raids, shaders from Strikes and Crucible. Strike-specific loot? I'm looking at you, Shield Brothers and Ala Cool, with your helmet we so happily stole. This is the way we should be getting our coolest and most attractive loot. This is the way we should be getting sparrows, ships, and weapon ornaments. This is one of the many carrots that Destiny has robbed from us to extract the most blood, the most money, the most attention they can possibly get. We are nothing more than a lifeline. A source of income to keep this company moving forward while we prepare for Destiny's armors, its guns, its locations, and its menu system to be rebooted again and again. Destiny's Eververse store is a glowing example of a game that has lost its way and forgotten what it was. Like most washed up and forgotten celebrities relying on the grifts of autographs and photos, we watch as Bungie sells its soul for crossovers with major brands and movies to rake in as much money as it can from a dwindling player base. To think that if Bungie still put the same love and care, that if Bungie put the same compassion and heart that it had to this game for us, we would have earned most of this not with our paychecks, but with our playtime. But yet instead, we pay excessive amounts of money for minor things and a balance that weighs heavily in their favor with every transaction made. The cost of it all. Now this part. This is the part where Bungie's greed will shine like the brightest light on the darkest day, cutting through everything to make itself clearly known. Carving the darkness aside, so what is this bright light? What is this beacon proclaiming Bungie's greed? Why? It's the cost of these items, of course. Yet it's also how we have to spend our money, how we have to purchase their in-game currency to buy these items. Well, of course, if they're micros, there's going to be a need to spend money. So let's break these two items down and showcase why this is the ultimate failure of the Eververse store. Why these 2 points firmly nail it to the wall. Opening up the Eververse store and clicking on the blue button in the corner, we bring up the screen to purchase silver. For those of you who do not know, silver is the in-game currency for all purchases at the Eververse store. $5 will get you 500 silver, $10 will get you 1,000 with a 100 bonus, $15 gets you 15,000 with a 200. The more you spend, the bigger the bonus. The more you, the consumer, win. The denominations continue to grow. 30 for 3,000 with a 500, 50 for 5,000 with a 1,000 bonus. And if you really want to help Bungie out, 100 for 10,000 with a 2,000 bonus. How could you not want to spend your money? The more you spend, the more you get. I'm getting excited just sitting here thinking of spending even more of my money on this game. Okay, so what's the problem? This seems rather straightforward. Pay for what you get and get what you pay for. Well, let's talk about the cost of the items. A ghost shell will go between 600 to 800 silver, so that means you won't be spending 500 silver. You're going to be getting 1,000. Well, guess what? Now you have leftover silver, and not enough to buy anything else. So you buy another 500 or another 1,000 with a 100 bonus. The issue here is the amounts are set up to be different from the cost of the items to ensure that you have to purchase beyond the cost of the item. Then once you have the item and the remaining silver, not enough to do more of course, you have to buy more to ensure you can spend what you already bought. This deceptive practice where you are almost guilted into buying more based on the sheer fact that it is wasteful if you don't. This is financial FOMO. Emotes ranging from 800 to 1,200, armor ornaments ranging from 600 for one piece to 15 for a full set. Ships and weapon ornaments, you're paying 500 to 2,000 for individual pieces or bundles. Prices are designed to ensure that you are doing nothing more than becoming a normal addict to this new drug. Eververse sells every single cosmetic thing you would want for your guardian. You're constantly lured back to the store, your face pressed to the glass as you look at the newest and shiniest objects for sale, wondering, thinking how awesome your guardian would look with the plethora of things Tess offers. All yours for thousands and thousands of silver. And Eververse? Eververse makes sure to tell us, if you've got the money, I've got the goods, guardian. Oh, to be so forward, Tess. So if it's your money, and this is what you want, if it's your money and you don't mind buying more than you need just to be lured back to buy more than you need just to be lured back to buy more than you need, what's the problem? What's left? I talked about the realism, I talked about the amount of material in Eververse versus the base game, and I talked about the cost of silver. So what is it? What is the final nail? Cost to value. One thing we did not go over in our jaunt through the aisles of the Eververse store, while browsing the newest pants and chess pieces, gazed at the rows upon rows of ships ready to take us deep into the portal, the skimmers, where we'll never use them except a quick rush to the start of a strike mission or dungeon layer, is how much seasons cost in silver. Okay, so why is this a big deal? Of course they're going to cost something. They're not free. Bungie needs to make some money. We're already getting such a great deal. A season costs 1,200 silver, so why is that number so important? Because so does an emote, a skimmer, or a finisher. That 1,200 leaves you 800 shy of the Kratos or Witcher armor. It leaves you short of the Stormtrooper armor, so you miss out on the ornaments. But do you know what that 1,200 does get you? It gets you an exotic weapon. It gets you shards, golf balls, bright dust, emotes, weapons, an entire new set of armor, and an entire ornament set. All this armor and these ornaments are all for 3 classes. Play Titan, Warlock, and Hunter. Make sure you log in before the season ends and claim them all. But it also has a catalyst for this exotic weapon. Strange coins to spend at Xur. Glimmer and seasonal resources. We all know this. We've been taking from and collecting from the season pass for years. So what's the deal? The deal is for 1,200 silver, we get 1 set of armor ornaments for each class, 1 full set of armor, multiple weapons, bright dust shards, seasonal resources, strange coins, and an exotic catalyst and weapon. All of that for 1,200 silver. Yet, if we went to Eververse, we would need another 800 to get that Kratos armor for your Titan. So tons of content and items for 1,200 silver, or 1 full set of armor for 2,000. Tons of content and items for a season pass versus one set of armor you'll wear for a few weeks or months and then you'll forget you even own. Or a season pass that you could have the meta exotic weapon. This is cost disparity, and to me, this is a major problem with Eververse. This is one of the biggest reasons that I find Bungie to be guilty of greed and the desire to wring us dry, like someone twisting out a washcloth before it's hung up, making sure that every single bit of silver falls to the floor for them to collect. They're doing their best to make as much money from us as possible while they steer this game into the ground. The lower the player count, the more crossovers we get. An entire DLC based around Star Wars, after Stormtrooper sets, after Star Wars pre-order bonuses. Yet all of these items are cheap in comparison to the cost of Eververse. I'm at a loss and have trouble understanding how they can demand so much for something they took so little time to make, yet give us something they poured months into for nothing in comparison. 1,200 versus 2,000. It just doesn't make sense. This math isn't mathing, Guardians. So I've given you my reasons. I've laid out my points on why I think Eververse has not only changed the image of Destiny, but also the design structure. I've discussed with you how the items sold and how the cosmetics we buy are grossly overpriced. I've given you examples of price points and comparisons between them. I have shown you how this just doesn't seem to be a viable working part of Destiny. Now, do I honestly think Bungie will ever remove the Eververse store? No, not in a million years. They make far too much money from it. I honestly believe that Bungie will continue to double down on its armor and cosmetics being found mostly behind the glass that tests Eververse's store, there for us to press our face to, but never seek to buy. So is there any positive? Is there anything at all? Can I give you some reason to be hopeful that this is going to change? Well, if this had been written 3 days ago, I would have said no. And actually, I did say no. I had already written and recorded this entire piece, and had it ready to go until they released their most recent patch notes and a tweet on X. So what did this tweet on X say? What made me rewrite and change my entire piece? It was this tweet. We've heard your feedback on current Iron Banner armor sets as well as the overall state of the unique and compelling earned rewards. The overall balance in paid and earned armor cosmetics is off for this season, and we're aiming to adjust our approach to earned rewards in the future. In short term, today we will be changing the visual of the Iron Banner's Beryllium set to instead use those of the upcoming Ancient Majesty set, shown here. The Iron Beryllium set original visual will be available in the later update. The Ancient Majesty set will now become the Iron Banner set and will not be made purchasable on the Eververse store. There will be temporary issues where the gear will still show the Iron Beryllium set of the icons. We will fix those in a future patch. We also note that the themes of the set's name and set bonuses may not match in the new visuals. We'll aim to update this as well. So it seems Bungie has become self-aware. Bungie, like a sentient AI, is waking up. Maybe we're starting to see a different Bungie, one that reacts to the issues that impact us just as fast as they react to the ones that impact them. Maybe we're starting to see a change in the leadership, an understanding of the impending doom that lies on the horizon if they don't deviate from their current course. This could be a very much a different Bungie that now knows that the blade hangs high above, waiting to drop at any time. I do hope so. I do hope that Bungie finds a way to right this ship and bring this game back to the fun state we all love, the game we couldn't bear to be apart from. Now, I wanted to add in one last thing. If this ever comes across the Destiny dev screen, this video ever crosses a Bungie game director's path, show us you care. Show us that not only does our time matter, so does our money. When we have invested close to $1,000 over the course of Destiny's Light and Dark saga, when we have brought into this new vision, show us our money matters. How? Reduce the cost of items within Eververse. I know you might not think this is a viable option, but consider this. People, just like me, would be more willing to spend our money in your store if the items fit our game's world, if they weren't more than a season, if when I bought 1,000 silver, I could get 3 or 4 armor sets. You might find that more of us would be willing to spend our money in your store. Yet, as this game's player numbers dry up, so does the chance of us ever getting a good and proper store, one that values our money and how we choose to spend it. But let's be honest, before we get that, we need a game that values our time. With all that said, I appreciate your time. A like and a sub would help. Once again, thank you to all for viewing this video and making it this far. I am truly grateful for your time. So leave a comment, let me know what you agreed with, and if you didn't, let me hear your opinion in the comments below. So carry on, Guardians. even if it is to other games and worlds while we wait for this one to be fixed. Hopefully we'll still end up back here, together again, fighting the monsters of the universe, and looking awesome in our 2000 silver armor while we do it.